Hi Stampers, and welcome to the March Video Kit Club. This month we've got Sophie for you and a slider card. It's a fun card to make and I know you'll enjoy it too. We're going to be using some new products this month. We're starting to carry the watercolor pencils and we're going to be using it with the Dove blender pen. Okay, to start with, I stamped Sophie on watercolor paper with black StazOn. Okay, and then I colored part of her with the watercolor pencils, and I just wanted to show you a little bit of coloring with that as well. When you're using the watercolor pencils, I like to use the watercolor paper because it holds the pencil better. It has a texture to it, and as you can see, I'm not coloring the whole image in. I'm just laying down some color around the edges, and this is going to give me a natural highlight then when I use the blender pen. And as I use the blender pen, it's just like the water, you're adding it to the watercolor pencils, but you have more control than with a paintbrush. And I'm just coloring in circular motions and pulling the color to the middle there, and it gives me a natural highlighted spots then where I colored it. If I don't want it that dark around the edges, if you just keep going over it and pulling your color, you'll even it out. Okay, so there we've got that. And then to clean your marker to go on to another color, you just scribble on your paper until it's clean. And then for the hair, I'm going to color in with some yellow, but then I also want her to have some brown highlights. So I'm going to take the brown then, and I'm just going to put some lines, just a few, to give her some highlights. And then when I color it in, depending on how much I mix it, we'll have brown spots or brown highlights, brown streaks in her hair. And if you want it more blended, just color it in a little bit more and it'll blend it. Okay, and you'll notice that watercoloring on the watercolor paper is a lot easier to do. You can correct your mistakes by cleaning your pen and going back in and picking up your color, and it'll take it away. So that is the watercoloring on the watercolor paper. Now then I mounted Sophie on the yellow piece of cardstock, and then I put her on dimensionals. Now for the card, you're getting a 5.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. It is scored at 3.5, 7 1/8, and 10 5/8, and you're just going to fold it all inward, and then this middle panel that has the half circle punched out of it, I used a 1-inch circle punch and I punched out the half circle, and then I've layered my teal piece on there with my ribbon tied around it, and I'm going to adhere Sophie on there with dimensionals. You can use dimensional tape, and I'm going to stick her down here just like that, and then that's the front of my card. Now for the slider part, you're going to have the plastic bag. This is a 1.5 by like 12-inch piece of just plastic bag, and you're going to wrap it around on the side without the flap. This side has the flap, this side does not. And we're going to wrap it around that side, and we're going to tape it in the middle so it makes a loop around your card. And I'm using the double-sided tape, and if you got the 1/4-inch tape from the January Kit Club, you can use that. This is, I think it's the 1/2-inch tape. When you want to pull this around, and you want it to be snug but not too tight. Okay, so it'll still slide around. Okay, so now we're going to put in our middle pieces for the slider. And I've done mine. They're already decorated. You're going to stamp one up at the top and one down at the bottom. And I colored these with the watercolor pencils and the blender pen as well. This is regular cardstock, and you will notice that the pencils don't blend as well on the regular cardstock. That's why I like to use the watercolor if I'm doing a big image. And then I had a half a circle of teal cut out that I glued down, and then I stapled a piece of the yellow ribbon on there. Okay, now to attach it to our card, if you fold the card, this is going to be your front, and then the piece with the plastic goes in, and your slider piece that's stamped up at the top is going to go in between those two. Okay, so then you can open this up, and we're going to attach this one to the plastic at the bottom. So this one goes right down here, and we're just going to attach the card in the center of this panel all the way down on the plastic. Okay, so when you close it, there's your pull tab. Okay, now if you closed your card the rest of the way, you're going to want this panel with the bottom part behind this panel. So one's going to be in front of that flap and one's going to be in the back. And then if you open it up, you'll see that it's going to be backwards. Your image is on that side, and we're going to tape it up at the top this time because your image is at the bottom. Okay? So you're going to tape it up here. And again, line it up. You want the two panels to be lined up the same. Okay, and then when you close your card, that's how it's going to work then. Okay, so to close your card, I'm using red liner tape. I found that the double-sided tape isn't strong enough to keep the many layers, and you just want to make sure that when you close it that you tuck this flap in under here like that, under the slider flap, so it can still move. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this off, and I'm going to tuck this under. Okay, and there's the card. And there's your slider, and everybody's going to love it and not understand how that happens because it's so cool. So hope you enjoy that, and stay tuned, and I'll see you again next month. Have fun with it. Bye-bye.